Hello everyone, and welcome to the Astronomical Society of Penang's April 2022 edition of What's Up in the Sky. I'm your host, Dr. Derek Lim, and we have a very exciting April 2022 ahead. In the meantime, please like and subscribe our Facebook page and also visit the Astronomical Society of Penang's website at astronomicalsocietyofpenang.com. And now let's get started. For April 2022's evening sky, we begin the month with a new moon on April 1st. The winter Milky Way arches across the evening sky, while Orion and its winter gang of constellations slowly sink towards the western horizon as the month progresses. On April 9th, the moon reaches its first quarter phase and is located near the twin bright stars of Castor and Pollux of the constellation Gemini. 3 days later, on April 12th, the moon, now growing to its waxing gibbous phase, will pass through the sickle of Leo, a grouping of stars or an asterism that is shaped like a sickle or a mirror inverted question mark. So on this day will be your opportunity to find the constellation Leo. The full moon occurs on April 17th, and we will be able to enjoy a moon-free evening sky in the following days until the end of April. On April 29th, look for Mercury low in the western horizon as the minor planet reaches its greatest eastern elongation from the Sun, meaning that it's about as high as it can get in the evening sky, or as far as it gets from the Sun, as it circles around the Sun in its orbit, which is of course closer to the Sun than the Earth's orbit. As you look at the planet Mercury on the 29th and also the 30th of April 2022, try to find the Pleiades right next to the planets. The Pleiades is of course the famous bright open cluster in the constellation of Taurus, and Mercury will be parked right next to the Pleiades, which is a pretty sight in binoculars and possibly capturable on camera. The bright evening twilight might be a hindrance, but do give it a try. Moving along to the morning sky, April 2022's morning sky certainly offers more interesting sights, especially since we have a planet parade the entire month just before sunrise. Venus, Saturn, and Mars are easily seen as the three bright stars in the east just before sunrise, with Venus easily outshining everyone else. Jupiter will eventually join the planet parade towards the end of the month. And in the meantime, there's also the Milky Way's galactic core arcing high overhead in the sky. On the morning of April 5th, set your alarms to wake up early and watch Saturn and Mercury get very close to each other. The planets will appear just about half a moon width away from each other, forming a lovely pairing in the sky in an attempt to rival the brilliant beauty of the nearby Venus. The planets will continue to march along in the eastern morning sky, but meanwhile, on April 22nd, watch for some meteors as the Lyrid meteor shower peaks around the date. The ordinary rate of the Lyrid meteor shower is about 20 meteors per hour. That's not many on average. However, a bright waning gibbous moon would guarantee that pretty much only the brightest of the meteors may be visible. So do keep an eye out, but do not have too high hopes about seeing a very nice meteor shower. As the moon continues to fade in its waning phases, the galactic core of the Milky Way that's arcing overhead becomes more easily observed. From April 24th to April 28th of 2022, we can see the moon moving along its orbit around the Earth, passing by the morning planetary queue, starting with Saturn to Mars, and then Venus and Jupiter. Of interesting note is on April 27th, the moon will glide past Venus and Jupiter, forming a particularly notable gathering. We will see the waning crescent moon and two of the brightest planets in the sky gathering together in the pre-dawn skies, providing a beautiful sight in the eastern horizon. The end of April 2022 also offers an interesting possibility of a bright comet, but in the evening sky. So this bright comet, or potentially bright comet, okay, because comets do behave like cats, as a lot of people like to say, they are very, very unpredictable. So we should not have overly high expectations, but this comet called C2021-03 Pan-STARRS could become visible in the evening sky at about magnitude 5, just below Mercury and the Pleiades. So stay tuned to our Astronomical Society of Penang's Facebook page and website for updates on this potential comet. And now it is time for our constellation of the month. And the constellation of the month for April 2022 is the constellation of Leo. Leo can be found gliding quietly overhead in the evening sky. And what is the most prominent feature of Leo is this popular sickle asterism, which is of course shaped like a sickle in the sky or a backwards question mark. At the base of the sickle lies the brightest star in Leo called Regulus. Regulus shines at a bright magnitude 1.35 and is the 21st brightest star in the sky. And because Regulus, interestingly, lies very close to the ecliptic, which is the path the sun, the moon, the planets, etc., and asteroids take across the sky, the star Regulus itself is a very interesting star. And astrophysicists are fascinated by its rapid rotation rate. The star's surface rotates with a speed of about 320 kilometers per second. And just rotating slightly faster would cause the star to actually rip apart. So Regulus is actually a very interesting star that several astrophysicists are studying. Meanwhile, the constellation Leo is also a very interesting constellation in the sense that it has double stars and a few galaxy groupings and galaxies that are nice to observe, pretty bright. So the double star is Gamma Leonis, also called Algebra. The components of the double star are separated by about 4 arcseconds, which means that it can be resolved with a relatively small telescope or even large binoculars. Each star is about second magnitude, so it is also a very bright star. So Gamma Leonis is a very popular target for many amateur astronomers, including myself. It's one of my favorite double stars in the sky. And with the constellation Leo being located further from the plane of the Milky Way, the constellation would of course boast a few brighter galaxies and galaxy groupings, with the most famous being the M65, M66 and NGC 3628 galaxy grouping. M65 and M66 are relatively bright, about magnitude 7, 8-ish. So a relatively dark sky and a pair of binoculars would render the galaxies visible. And through a telescope, we can easily see M65, M66, and NGC 3628 as a triangle grouping of galaxies. Also nice to observe are M95, M96, and M105. As I understand, there are also a few other galaxies in the grouping, but these 3 are the more brighter ones, and so they are worth looking for, just kind of at the belly of the lion. And another interesting galaxy to find is NGC 2903, located near the tip of the sickle. Although these are galaxies that are relatively faint and require relatively dark skies to observe, do give them a try, especially even with binoculars, because I have observed M65, M66 with a pair of 7x50 binoculars. So that's certainly doable. If I remember correctly, I could also see NGC 2903, although I can't remember whether it was through binoculars or a small telescope. So there you have it for our constellation of the month, Leo. I hope you have fun exploring the objects in the constellation, and I hope that you discover many other objects on your own as well. You can use a star chart, star map program, and look around, scan around the constellation for other interesting objects. And this will conclude our April 2022's What's Up in the Sky. We thank you for your continued support, and I hope that this What's Up in the Sky program can bring you a lot of interesting information to explore the night sky, and we'll see you again next month. Take care.